Logan Barrett didn't need an alarm clock. Years of military service had trained his body to wake up with the sun, no matter how much his bones ached, no matter how little sleep he got. He stretched, let out a low groan, and sat up on the edge of his bed, rubbing his temples. Another morning in this quiet, nothing town. A cup of coffee, a newspaper, a long drive down the back roads in his 1969 Chevy Chevelle. That's all he needed. At least, that's what he thought. Logan opened his front door and stopped cold. His car, his pride and joy, the car he had rebuilt from the ground up with his own hands, was destroyed. Spray paint covered the once pristine black hood. Words scrawled across the doors in sloppy neon streaks. Old man, boomer, too slow to catch us. The windshield was shattered, the tires slashed. The American flag sticker on the back bumper had been ripped off, replaced with some sloppy handprint of cheap black paint. Logan stood there for a long time, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. His heart wasn't racing, his breathing wasn't shallow. Anger wasn't what he felt, it was calculation. It was the kind of cold, controlled focus he used to feel before a mission. A neighbor poked his head out from across the street, taking one look at Logan's car before shaking his head and quickly retreating inside. Yeah, that's what Logan thought. Nobody ever saw anything when it mattered. He stepped forward, ran a hand along the deep scratches on the hood, and exhaled slowly. They thought this was a joke. They thought it was just some harmless prank. They had no idea who they had just messed with. Logan Barrett had spent 20 years hunting men in places they thought they couldn't be found. He had tracked footprints in the sand, followed trails of cigarette ashes left in the jungle, memorized the way a man's voice carried in the wind. And now he was going to find them. And when he did, they were going to wish they had never been born. The local cops weren't much help. The young officer at the front desk barely looked up from his computer when Logan walked in. "Vandalism, huh?" the cop muttered, flipping through a report. "Kid's been pulling dumb pranks around town. It'll blow over." Logan's jaw tightened. "You know who they are?" The cop shrugged. "We got ideas." "Then why haven't you done anything?" The cop sighed, finally looking up. "Look, Mr. Barrett, no one's hurt. You got insurance, right? Let it go." Let it go. Logan stared at the officer for a long time. The kid had probably never been punched in the face, probably never had to fight for anything. That was the problem. Nobody ever made these kids pay for their mistakes. Fine. If the cops weren't going to do their jobs, then Logan would do it for them. Back home, Logan sat at his kitchen table, sipping black coffee, staring at his own security footage. His cameras hadn't caught much, just shadows, quick movement, the sound of distant laughter. But it was enough. Then came the real work. Logan grabbed a flashlight and walked out to the street, scanning the ground. Most people didn't pay attention to the little details, but Logan wasn't most people. There. A footprint in the dirt, just beside his mailbox. It was fresh, size 10.5, pattern of a cheap sneaker. Not work boots, not running shoes. Teenagers. They had come on foot, which meant they lived nearby. Logan smirked. Found you. An hour later, Logan parked down the street from a rundown gas station, watching from his truck as a group of 3 cocky, laughing idiots loitered near the front. He recognized them immediately. The same stature, the same posture from his security footage. One of them, Tyler, the loud one, the ringleader, was flicking a pocket knife open and closed, grinning as he joked with his friends. Another, Matt, had a can of spray paint peeking out from his backpack. The third, Jason, was clearly just along for the ride. He kept glancing around as if his conscience was eating at him. Good. They hadn't noticed Logan yet. He took his time, opened his truck door slowly, stepped out, calm as ever, walked right up to them. Tyler spotted him first, smirked. "Hey, look," he said, nudging Matt. "It's old man Barrett. What's up, Gramps? Your car still got 4 tires, or did we miss one?" His friends laughed. Logan stopped in front of them, hands loose at his sides, expression unreadable. And then, in a voice so quiet they had to lean in to hear it, he asked, "Which one of you little shits wants to tell me why you thought messing with my car was a good idea?" The laughter died instantly. Logan wasn't yelling, he wasn't threatening, but something about him made every instinct in their bodies scream at them to run. Tyler forced a chuckle, trying to mask his nerves. "Man, chill out, it was just a joke." Logan tilted his head, studying them. He let the silence stretch, let them sweat. Then, in the same dead calm voice, he said, "I spent years tracking men across deserts. You think I can't find you again?" Jason took an instinctive step back. Tyler's smirk wavered. And that's when they realized this wasn't just an old man. This was a man who had done things. And if they weren't careful, they were about to learn exactly what. Tyler licked his lips, shifting uncomfortably under Logan's unwavering stare. His cocky grin was gone. The gas station lights buzzed overhead, casting an eerie glow over the small group. The laughter was dead now. The reality of the situation had finally caught up with them. Tyler cleared his throat, trying to salvage his tough guy act. Man, it was just some paint. No big deal. Logan took a step closer, not fast, deliberate, controlled. Tyler instinctively stepped back. "It was just a joke," Matt muttered, shoving his hands into his pockets. "We didn't think it'd be a big deal." Logan exhaled slowly. That was the problem. People like them never thought about the consequences. They assumed they'd never have to face the person they wronged. Unfortunately for them, they had picked the wrong man. Logan looked down at Tyler's hands. The pocket knife was still there, flipping open and closed in a nervous tick. "Go ahead," Logan said, nodding at it. "Use it." Tyler froze. "What?" "You wanted to act tough," Logan continued, his voice calm as steel. "So use it, right now." Tyler looked down at the knife, then back at Logan. His fingers tightened around the handle. Then he hesitated, because somewhere, deep in his gut, he knew. If he made a move, it would be the last mistake he ever made. Matt and Jason stayed silent. The moment stretched. Then, slowly, Tyler lowered the knife and shoved it into his pocket. Logan nodded. "Smart choice." Tyler swallowed hard. "Look, man, what do you want?" Logan took another step forward, now standing inches away. "I want you to understand what it feels like to be helpless, to be a victim of someone else's fun." The boys shifted uneasily. Logan tilted his head, considering them. Then he gave them two options. "You can either fix what you broke, every last bit of it, with your own damn hands." His voice dropped lower. "Or I can make a call to some friends I know. They won't call the cops. They'll make sure you don't get up again." The boys went pale. Jason broke first. "Dude, let's just fix it," he muttered, barely above a whisper. Matt nodded, too scared to argue. But Tyler? His jaw clenched. His pride was the last thing he had left. "You can't make us," he said, voice shaking. Logan stared at him, and then, without warning, he grabbed Tyler by the collar and yanked him forward. Tyler let out a strangled yelp, his breath catching in his throat. Logan didn't hurt him. He didn't even tighten his grip, but his presence alone made every cell in Tyler's body scream danger. "You have no idea what I can make you do, kid." Tyler's pulse hammered. He had been in fights before, pushed people around, gotten away with it. But this wasn't a fight. This was an execution waiting to happen. His entire body went limp. "Oh, okay," he stammered. "We'll fix it." Logan let go, and just like that, it was over. The lesson begins. For the next 3 days under Logan's brutal watch, the boys worked. They scrubbed every inch of his car, removed every last drop of spray paint. They replaced the tires, paid for a new windshield. Logan didn't make it easy. They woke up before sunrise to work. They ran drills while they waited for parts to arrive. They sanded, they polished. By the time they were done, their hands were raw, their backs ached, and their muscles burned. Tyler, Matt, and Jason weren't laughing anymore. For the first time, they understood what real discipline looked like. And they hated to admit it, but they respected it. On the last day, when the car finally looked as good as new, Tyler wiped the sweat from his brow and looked at Logan. "Why'd you even let us do this?" he muttered. Logan leaned against the hood of the Chevelle, arms crossed. "Because I was a dumb kid once too," he said simply. Tyler blinked. "You did stupid crap like this?" Matt asked, incredulous. Logan smirked. "Worse?" The boys exchanged glances. "Someone gave me a second chance," Logan added. "Just making sure you don't waste yours." Silence. Then, for the first time, Tyler nodded, not out of fear, but respect. The boys left. They didn't need to be told twice. They walked away different than they were before. And Logan, He climbed into his fully restored Chevelle, fired up the engine, and drove off down the open road, not looking back, because he knew they would never forget the night they messed with the wrong man, and they would never make that mistake again.